What is going on, YouTube? And have we got some epic news that has just been announced? FFP is being scrapped. That's correct. You heard me right. FFP is going to be scrapped in for a new system. Stay tuned as we diverge into what the hell has just happened. Welcome, Gooner Nations, and welcome to all football fans from wherever you are in the world. I hope you're having a good evening or a good morning to wherever you are from. Now, breaking news, UEFA have just announced that they are looking to scrap financial fair plays in favour of a new system to allow clubs more freedom to spend their money. Now, we're going to look into this, what is going on, and how will this affect the world of football, and especially how will this affect the Premier League and clubs such as Arsenal, Tottenham, United, etc. And how will this benefit clubs as well, such as your Everton, your Wolves, your Fulhams. This is going to be something interesting. And guys, if you are here, get your thoughts and comments, below. I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. If you are new, please subscribe, like, and share. Come over to the YouTube scene if possible. I'm on Twitch as well. But yeah, get your thoughts known. But what I do want to do is there is an article which kind of does have a bit of a breakdown into what's going on. Now, as we can see, obviously, financial fair play has been scrapped. Chelsea have been given more freedom in £150 million pursuit of Erling Haaland. He seems to be the biggest reason why this is even happening. He seems to be very well in the middle of all of this, costing a lot of money. The Neymar, the Mbappe situation, FFP has completely kind of destroyed the world of football. But what does this mean for the world of football now? As we can see, UEFA is reportedly scrapping financial fair play and will replace it with a new system of financial control, which will give clubs more freedom over their spending. FFP regulations were introduced in 2010 and 11 with the aim of preventing clubs from spending more money than they earn in pursuit of success in silverware to ensure long-term sustainability. Now, that is key, that is very key to why they brought in financial fair plays to begin with. Now, one of the main reasons was clubs going bankrupt or going into administration or having to sell due to the fact that they had no longer money for what they committed to. So that's one of the major reasons why it was there. How does this affect Chelsea? We may as well get into Chelsea first. Now, obviously, this is a Fan Nation Absolute Chelsea news article, so they're kind of talking about it from a Chelsea perspective. Now, Chelsea is set for another blockbuster transfer window this summer after a spend on excess of £220 million last summer, bringing in the likes of Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, Ben Chilwell, and Ziyech, to be fair. And Thomas Tuchel's side are looking to bring in a new centre-forward. Erling Haaland has been tipped as their number one target. He could cost in excess of £150 million. One of the most sought after. They're going to be battling City for this. And, they're both going to be looking to absolutely exploit the fact there may be no FFP. Roman Abramovich is also prepared to make his personal mission to land Haaland as Blues also target a new centre-back. Now, big news coming out. Absolute big news. Now, I do want to look at another article as well from Football London. UEFA financial fair play decision that will impact Arsenal, Chelsea and Tottenham transfers. UEFA are ready to scrap FFP and replace it with a system which obviously allows the clubs to have more power in their control to spend. Now, what does this mean? What does this essentially mean? Obviously, what we can hear from this is that financial fair play is being scrapped. It was kind of actually being scrapped last season when COVID hit due to the fact that clubs couldn't make the revenue that they traditionally were aware or traditionally they could make. So it's always been in the pipelines, and I feel like one of the major reasons, and I let me know in the comments if you agree with this, is the reports of this Super League being created. So UEFA were kind of backed into a corner to make this happen. They had to let the big clubs do what they wanted to do, so UEFA still has power over them. Because if UEFA don't do something like this, they could scrap, playing for UEFA or being under the regulation of UEFA and go do their own thing, which has obviously been massively reported. They wanted to create a Super League which would allow the big guns to do what they wanted and compete with each other, such as your Barcelonas, your Man Cities, your Real Madrids, your Chelsea's, etc., your PSGs. And that's obviously going to cause a major uproar within the footballing world, because that's just going to take away from everything. How do you get into the Super League? Is it just a set 20 teams or 15 teams or whatever? Or is there a way to get into it now? UEFA, FIFA, any other body regulation are just kind of trying to back themselves and just trying to not back themselves into a corner. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. But what does this mean in terms of the Premier League? What for me, I've been going back and forth. I've had a lot of conversations with people on Twitter in regards to this. And what it does is it allows more clubs to invest heavily into their teams without feeling like they're going to be penalized or banned from the transfer market for doing so. Such as your, promoted teams. Promoted teams do make a lot of money when they get promoted into the Premier League. The fan base grows. Yes, the revenue is better, but to be in the Premier League, you have to spend money. Fulham spent £100 million. Yes, it was wrong, but they spent it wrong. But they also needed to do that, and they still got relegated. Now, yes, there are teams who haven't spent that kind of money and are still in the Premier League. But the problem comes to teams like Everton, teams like Wolves, teams like even West Ham, for example, teams that are big, but they don't have the ability to spend because the club revenue isn't as high as your Uniteds, your Arsenals, your Chelseas, and even your Cities in modern day football. That becomes a big problem. When you don't have the ability to spend and invest the cash into your clubs, it becomes a big problem. Now, the teams that we're mentioning that, it's affecting, Everton are probably the only one who are going to love this, because now they can go in without restraints, without any sort of precautions or any sort of, what's the right word to use, without any sort of backlash or legal ramifications. They can now just go and spend money. That's what they wanted to do. They've got billionaire owners, they've got the backing, and obviously even with Usmanov in the background, they're going to go and spend money, big money, to become a big team. They're not far from it. They've got Carlo Ancelotti as a manager. Imagine backing him with 100, 200 million pound worth of players to come into that team. They were on a league run at the start of the season. So imagine when they can depthen their squad with merely 200 to 300 million pound worth of players. That will do massively for them, especially a club of their size. What it's going to do is it's going to allow a lot of the smaller teams to come and compete with the big boys. The only reason FFP was introduced, it was to do one of two things. It was to help clubs not overspend and become bankrupt and go into administration, and not to commit too much more than what you're earning. It was a good thing that it was brought in, because there were clubs who were going to overspend, overcommit with player wages, financial sort of transfer fees, and then not be able to recoup that money back, because the expectation of signing them players was to stay in the Premier League, maybe get a European finish, but they didn't do that. So they no longer have that kind of money within their sort of budget. And then what happens is slowly it dwindles, and the money that the owners have starts to dwindle down, and they no longer have the financial resources to keep up with the repayments or the wages that they've now committed to. Then they're having to kind of sell, and that obviously brings in a lot of bankruptcy and administration, and clubs going from being a big club to basically not existing. Bolton is an example of this, where they've kind of overspent, mismanaged, and they've had to bankrupt and administrate their club. Now, obviously moving forward, this will allow the likes of City, Chelsea, the freedom to do what they wanted to do. Right now, they're on a restraint, and they're still spending crazy money. Absolutely crazy money. Chelsea spending nearly £200 million. Yes, granted, they had a transfer ban, hence why the revenue of like Hazard was still there. The revenue that they would have built up in the summer, they still had that into the budget. And then obviously the budget they had anyways for the summer. So when you combine the two, they had a lot of money to be able to spend and go big in this transfer window. Do get your comments and thoughts in the comments or whatever platform you're on. I would love to hear from you guys as well, just to see kind of what your thoughts are on this FFP being scrapped. But yeah, and also if you are new, do subscribe, like, and share, please. It does massively help. I'd love to get people's opinions on what is going on and what does this mean for you as a fan. If you're an Arsenal fan, obviously it's an Arsenal channel, so I am presuming you're from the Arsenal background. But what does this mean for you? For me, this goes one of two ways. It's either going to be City, Chelsea running the league, because they're the only ones who have owners who are willing to go and pump money into their squads. The only thing that was ever stopping them was FFP. So what's now going to stop them from doing so? Roman Abramovich just pumps money. He loves Chelsea. Like, it seems that way anyway. He loves Chelsea. He wants to do everything he can. Obviously, reports saying he's looking to go, he wants to get Haaland at all costs. He's willing to pay that £150 million. Without FFP, he can now go and get even more players with Haaland. So it's going to cause a lot of problems. All this is going to do is it's going to make a bigger divide from the rich and the poorer clubs, in my opinion. The rich clubs who have those billionaire owners are now going to be able to just go there with the freedom to know they can just spend without having any fines, any repercussions coming back at them. But it can be exciting. It can be something that we can get behind as fans, to be honest. But it can also be one of the biggest detriments of what the footballing world can become. Now, one of the biggest questions I put is this over for football competition? Is this going to make it less competitive? I don't think so. I think this is going to do quite the opposite. I think it's going to make football a lot more competitive because they're allowed to go and do what they want. But what it will also do is cause a lot of toxicity within the football community. And what do I mean by this? Kreonke right now has FFP to hide behind. Glazers have FFP to hide behind. Those clubs have that to hide behind because they've, like, for example, Kroenkes have a massive debt, not only because of the shares that they bought on a loan against the club, but they also had a loan on the stadium build of the Emirates Stadium of, I believe it was in the billions of pounds, that they spent on the infrastructure of Emirates Stadium. Now, they had to repay that, and I think it was about 2-3 years ago that they've actually fully paid that stadium off, and we no longer got that debt, so maybe more spending is coming anyways. But it gives them no reason because they can now pump their own hard-earned cash into the club without any excuses. Kroenkes, have made this self-sustaining model that never worked. We had assets that we never sold, and we had assets that we let go for free because we ran their contracts down, and they became free agents that were willing, and they did not want to sign because they see no evidence that this club was going to move forward. Now, even when you look at the likes of Spurs, they're going to go through a similar thing because Daniel Levy or whoever the owners actually are who pump the money in don't actually want to spend money. Liverpool are going to have the same issue. They have a self-sustaining model. The club owners do not like to spend money. These American owners, there's a trend with them. All they're here to do is have these clubs as a cash cow, bring as much money out of them as possible, and just fuck off when the valuations are low. Whatever profits they make, and they basically piss off when it gets shit. That's all they do because the Premier League make too much money, especially clubs like Arsenal, United. They make a hell of a lot of revenue from shirt sales to, just match day gate receipts. Arsenal being one of the highest in terms of cost for fans to go in and actually watch Arsenal play. Season tickets, gate tickets, all of that. So it's going to be quite interesting because a lot of people are happy. And then there's people like myself. I'm on the fence. I actually don't know how I feel. I kind of am a bit pissed off because it's probably going to make the competitiveness of football a lot worse. Because even when we look at it, right, before like the Roman Abramovich and Sheikh Sulz and the likes came into the Premier League, Arsenal and United were the biggest teams in the leagues, and obviously Liverpool being one as well. That was more due to the fact that we never really spent money. We were going for unknown entities who didn't cost a lot of money that became gems for us, and that was able to happen because other teams in the league weren't spending money like they are now. Once it becomes a financial league, such as it will become, it becomes a big problem. It really does. We're going to see the likes of City and Chelsea blow the league out. Is one half of what I think. And then the other side of me is thinking there's actually going to be more teams coming into the competition knowing they can do what they need to do to compete. They can then bring in, because those guys are billionaire owners. They're not poor. And I don't think they're at any stage where if they invest in a couple of £100 million, that they'll be in dire need, especially with the way that some of the financial owners construct their board and their shares, that they're shareholders in a lot of these clubs. Even with Everton, they're going to become a shareholder-owned club. Arsenal was that for a very long time, for about, I think it was about nearly 20-odd years or something. We were like a shareholder. Actually, it was from the beginning of time, really, because fans had shares in the club. Then you had your billionaire or multi-millionaire owners who were also on the board. And so, yeah, we may be seeing more of that, where there'll be multiple billionaires on the board of these clubs that will be ready to spend money. It's going to make the Premier League more attractive as an asset to buy, because teams are going to be looking at it like this. Okay, now we've got this. We know we need to spend £200 million. Are we able to do that? Yes, because there's no FFP. We can control the financial spending. I think what will make it clearer is once they actually announce the rules and regulations behind this. I don't think it's as clear-cut as they're making it out to be. I do think there will be restriction, but I just wonder how restricted that will be. Now, because they are saying greater freedom over spending their money or more control of their finances. Now, when we look at what City got in trouble for, then obviously some City fans are in denial that they did anything wrong. It was just the fact that they've got more money than UEFA and they can keep counter-suing and keep taking them to court, extending this process to so long that UEFA just don't find it financially beneficial for them. That's all they've literally done. But saying that, it's going to bring more, I think, competitiveness to the league, because Wolves are literally restricted by their income, and I don't think, because they're not a global brand, it's hampering what they can do. Everton are the same. Everton are not a global brand. They've not got this sort of 20, 30, 40 million people around the world following them, or like tens of millions of people following them around the world. I'm not saying they're a small club, but they're just not as big as some of them. Especially look at United. United make hundreds of millions of pounds on shirt sales, on gate receipts, on just revenue due to fans. They make hundreds of millions of pounds. It's brilliant. I've got a question here from Yo-Yo. Could this be an attempt to discourage the European Super League? Yeah, so at the beginning, Yo-Yo, I did say this, and I think one of the things is UEFA have actually been backed into a corner, because the talks of the Super League were intensified. They literally, had to come out and said if anyone does join the European Super League, they won't be able to compete in the World Cup or in the Euros and stuff. So that was to try and deter the players from joining, if that happened, from joining them. So I think UEFA then looked at it and said, yeah, what else can we do? Okay, let's just scrap FFP, because that's one of their main concerns. They want to be able to spend the money that they want. Oh, no, it's all good, mate. Don't worry. I can talk about it again. It's not a worry. If you've got any other questions that you like to ask, just let me know, and I will ask. I'll try and answer them to the best of my knowledge from what I've read and what I've heard. So yeah, I mean, when we look at it, right, it is to discourage that, because City and PSG, especially them two, they were kind of big in this. Their board were the biggest to kind of wanting to spend the money that they have. They're multi billionaires. Like, they're worth billions upon billions upon billions. Like, I don't even know what Sheikh Mansour is actually worth. I'll check that for. But they are worth so much money that it's ridiculous. Like, it's reported he's worth around 22 billion. 22 billion is Sheikh Mansour's net worth. That is fucking ridiculous. He is one of the richest owners in the Premier League. And then when you look at the PSG's owners, they are ridiculous as well. You know, they're worth 8 billion. Now that can't be right. I'm guessing that's what they. Yeah, I mean they are also worth around the same, about 20, 30, 40 billion euros. Like, they're backed by countries basically, so it's phenomenal. But yeah, if anyone has any other questions they'd like me to answer, otherwise I am going to start to wrap it up and have my final thoughts. But it's been a pleasure, guys. Do like, share, and subscribe if you can. And yeah, like I said, look, this is going to swing both ways. I'm excited, but I'm also apprehensive because I'm not sure how this can go, because it's going to be a strange one. It's going to be a really, really strange one. Yeah, big up, Talking Barca, man. How you doing? You all good? Yeah, and this can go one of two ways. It can either make it so that more teams are in this and they're competing, but it can also go the wayward way where certain teams that we already know, such as your Chelsea and your Cities mainly, are just going to run the league. They're going to run away with it. They're going to buy absolutely the best of the best players in every single position. And, it's going to be one of those. But yeah, I will answer something like that on more of a Barca stream. There were a few, but just off the top of my head, I can't even remember now. I was impressed with Griezmann. I think Messi played well. Sergio Dest surprised me. I think he was probably the one I was most impressed with. The club's risk with moving to the Emirates has proved point. Yeah. I don't think it ever should have happened. I don't really. It's just corporate. The club. It just made us a corporate club. It was just one of those moves that I think they tried to make in hindsight, thinking would make the revenue, and now it's pointless, obviously. But I do think it's not a bad move in the sense we were always going to need to expand from the hybrid capacity. We were always going to have to modernize our stadium anyway, and I think the opportunity was good at the time. I don't think people were complaining too much at the time. In hindsight, obviously, it's a wonderful thing. It would, it's just turned our club into kind of point. It is pointless now, but it's always been pointless. We're meant to compete with the likes of Bayern Munich and stuff, and all we're getting is panned by them 5-1, 5-0. We can't even beat them. So it's embarrassing, the move to the Emirates. In hindsight, Highbury was just, the home. We still feel like that's our home. We never feel like Emirates is the home of, of Arsenal. Alba turned into a god form. Yeah, 100%. I always thought he was never really a fully good defensive left back. He's always been a wing back, in my opinion. Coleman's new system seems to be doing wonders. I will be talking more in depth on a Barca stream about that. Which player would you take from Barca or Arsenal except Messi? That's tough. I don't even know the answer. Someone like an Ilias Moriba, I would take maybe a Sergio Dest, just because we need a right back. Or probably Ricky Puig. I like Ricky Puig. He's such a phenomenal player. But I think the obvious one is De Jong. I would love to get De Jong at Arsenal. Obviously, he's at Barca. He probably won't leave, especially not under Coleman anyway. But yeah, De Jong would probably be my definitive answer on that one. But yeah, no, keep getting your questions in, keep getting your comments, and do like and subscribe if you haven't already, people. This has been wonderful. I'm loving the engagement. And yeah, I hope for many more things. I do see that I've gained a subscriber in this video. Thank you very much for whoever subscribed. It doesn't actually tell me. But yeah, no, thank you very much for that. Do you believe today's news can incentivize Kreonke to increase investment spending due to risk of falling further behind? Ooh. Now, I have to think about that whilst I sipped on some water. health is wealth. So, guys, get your water in. Do you believe today's news can incentivize Kreonke to increase investment? That's what a lot of people are hoping is the answer to that one. That is what a lot of people are hoping that this does, because he can't hide behind FFP. He can't hide behind the excuses he's made since he's taken over, even from the 100% ownership. Since he's come in, he's been a parasite at this club. He can change his fortunes. He can change our opinions. He's given the reins to a kid, his son, Josh Kreonke. You take the reins of Arsenal Football Club when it's in dire need of an owner who knows what the fuck they're doing. And he goes to his kid, you go. Nothing about this man makes any sense to me. If he's ever going to do it, he would have done so already. We had the Adidas deal on the table worth £200-300 million. Where the fuck has that money gone? Where the fuck has every single penny that we make as a club revenue gone? COVID, yes, we can blame COVID. But this is before that. Where has it gone? If he was ever going to spend money, he would have done so already. Yes, he helped fund the move of Thomas Partey from his own back pocket, but he fucking had to. He has given us nothing to be proud of. Under his ownership, we've gone backwards. Now I hope, that this brings him to thinking, okay, now I can spend money. Now I can do what I've wanted to do at Arsenal. Now I can do what I'm doing with the LA Rams, spending money, investing in the club's future. Hopefully that's what happens. I can only hope, man. It's the hope at Arsenal that kills you. Well, until he doesn't do anything, I'm not going to think anything. I think maybe the Conte talks are now going to intensify due to the fact, imagine having two multi-billionaire owners on the board to spend money at Arsenal with a 50-50 ownership. That would be something which now I can get excited behind. I just don't think Kroenke's ever going to spend money at this club. I feel like it's a cash cow for him. That's all he's using it for, is making money as an investment, because he knows the value of this club is always going to be on the up rather than the down. But that's what's going to flip, I think, with this new FFP. Hopefully, he sees it that way. Hopefully, he's got a business mind to him, and he sees the further I fall behind, the less money I can make from this club. Big up, man. Tariq Lamptey is sick. Yeah. My only question is it all pace, just like Bellerin? He's now got a few injuries, so we'll have to wait and see. I like him as a player right now, but I just don't know how much of that contributes to his pace and how much of that actually is him. But yeah, time will tell with that one. Big up. I wish Laporta owns Arsenal and Barca. He would. Yeah, I mean, Laporta's management is brilliant. Like he's got a brilliant management style, especially in a financial sense. He's always seemingly getting the right players in and promoting the right players in the youth level. His team is phenomenal. Like his management team and the people who he has in the back room have been phenomenal. I need to actually check if he's bringing the same people in, but yeah, he's going to do wonders at Barca. He's already changed the mentality of the club already. It's like a new manager's bounce. He seems to have revitalized the club's mentality, and yeah, it's brilliant to see. I'm just hoping that this is what Kreonke does with the announcement of FFP being scrapped, and we're having more. I don't know whether this is just for the COVID period either, people. This could just be part of just them trying to get the clubs back up and running because of COVID without having the gate receipts and fans not being able to come to stadiums, because that contributes to a massive part of, what they do. I see that there's 4 viewers on YouTube. I hope you guys do subscribe, like, and obviously, if you want to see more of this, I do love interacting with you people. Get your questions in if you want. And it's absolutely always brilliant talking to people and getting people's thoughts on what's going on in the world of football. FFP is massive, man. This is going to be brilliant, or it could go the opposite and be absolutely trash for us. So, yeah. Guys, do hit that like if you can. It'll help me massively. I believe they mentioned FFP being waived initially before various projects restarts in Europe. Yeah, exactly, Yo-Yo. And I'm just hoping that is what is happening, basically. I'm hoping it's just one of those where they're just looking to do it as just to get clubs back up and running, get the clubs strong enough for when things open up again. But yeah, if obviously all the questions have been answered. If you do have any, get them in quickly, as I'm going to wrap things up, unless there's a question that I haven't answered. But no, it's been wonderful. Thank you, Yo-Yo, Talking Barcelona, and thank you to everyone else who's joined in and who's subscribed today as well. We're on a road to 100, so all the subscriptions are very much so appreciated. We are on 87 subscribers, so we are 13 away from the big 100 people. It'll be absolutely amazing to hit that by the end of the month. There's going to be a lot more videos coming out. There's going to be a lot more to look forward to. And I hope we can reach the milestone of 100 subscribers by the end of the month. But thank you very much, people. We are approached the half-an-hour mark, and it's been wonderful speaking to people. And it's wonderful just to get this off my chest. Now I feel a bit more relaxed about everything. And yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, if anyone has got a question, what I'll do is I'll give you guys 20 seconds to quickly get them in, and then we could turn it into a bit of a Q&A if you want. But yeah, no, this is just one of those 50-50 things. You know, it can go brilliantly or it could be a disaster for a lot of clubs. I think what's going to happen is clubs are now going to be responsible for their own downfall. I think UEFA tried to protect them, but no club really wanted that. So yeah, I'm just hoping they don't F this up for themselves, really. Do you judge Wenger's Emirates period harsher, lighter, knowing where we are now? Oh, I don't. This is hard to answer, actually. Do you judge? I think the problem is, Wenger should have left far earlier than he did, just because we weren't doing anything as a club. I love Wenger. You know, I don't like talking harshly on him because of everything that he's done, the Invincibles, bringing the league titles, you know, winning us FA Cups, giving us some of the best, you know, European football, you know, that we have. You know, it's. I think we are judging him harsher. You know, just because of obviously him not leaving when we expected him to, and the club just went backwards and backwards. In relation to the growth of Chelsea and City, and now FFP being, you know, yeah, I mean, they never really fucking endorsed it on them anyway. They just kind of always did what they wanted to do. You know, it's one of them, and it really it's hard to really judge it because they were never really penalised for what they did. I know Chelsea had that little transfer ban where they weren't able to buy players, but that got overturned really quickly as well. I think it will always be ignored anyway if you're a big club with big money. Do you think Arsenal need 5 players to compete for the league? It'll be a good start. I don't think that'd be. It can be enough. It can be enough, but it depends on who the 5 players are. Yeah, that's a good sign. Obviously, he is bringing some of his old staff back. But do you think Arsenal need 5 players? Yes, I do. We need a partner for Partey, number 1. We need a right back, number 2. We need a massive goal-scoring striker because the goals have kind of drawn out. So there's your 3. And we need a backup left back. And we need a leader. I don't know where on the pitch we need that, but we need a leader, maybe a centre-back, you know, maybe someone, maybe that midfielder will fill that role, but we do need a centre-back as well, a dominant centre-back to go with Gabriel, or even maybe Saliba. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Yes, big up, Gary. Good afternoon, Sulz classes. Sulz speaks and Sulz teaches. I don't think I've taught anyone anything. I've just broken some news to people. But no, thank you, Gary, man. It's always a pleasure talking to you and getting involved. It's always brilliant. But yeah, no, guys, if you've got any questions or if you want to ask anything, we've got one question here. Tom and Tuchel or Jurgen Klopp, who's the better tactic? Ooh. This is hard. Jurgen Klopp's got one style of play. Thomas Tuchel has shown a variety of different methods of playing. Even when he went, like, look at his PSG and Dortmund were quite different. Now he's at Chelsea showing a more defensive side of his game. I think Thomas Tuchel's got more variety tactically, and Jurgen Klopp is more a systems manager. Like, if a system doesn't work, he doesn't really have a plan B. That's the best way I can put that. I don't know who's better per se in the light of the question. If I was to say, I'd say Tuchel possibly, just because I think he's got more variety. But that'd be the only reason why I'd say him. But I do think Klopp's an overall better manager now. He's won more, he's done more, and yeah, like, you've got to respect that factor about him. But yeah, no, this has been Gooner Sulz wrapping up. If you do like this sort of segment where news breaks out and you want me to kind of talk about it, get your thoughts in, and we can make that happen. We can do this more frequently. How long do you reckon before the Premier League games are played in other countries like La Liga teams have experimented with? How long do you reckon before the Premier League games are played? Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah. They did that for like a few games and then they scrapped it off. I don't think it's a... the issue is Premier League is probably going to be better for it because they're more of a global brand. La Liga is more kind of dominated in Spain, and then outside world, it's more just your Real Madrids and your Barcelonas, really. I know Barcelona, I believe they were due to play a game, and I don't think they did. But I don't know. I don't think it'll ever happen. I think the tourist attraction of like England is big enough for them to not move. I think what you're going to get is friendlies elsewhere. You're never going to get the Premier League moving. Do you think England should win the Euros with... fuck no. Southgate ain't going to win shit. He should, but he ain't going to win nothing. He's just a crap manager. He doesn't understand how to play one of the best attacking generations of England. You know, he's got phenomenal talent, and he's going to waste them. He's absolutely going to waste them. You need to sign a DM. Yes, I agree. Right back, yes. Left back, backup left back, yes. Striker, yeah. Goalkeeper, we've already got Matt Ryan. He's going to sign on a free, so we're not even going to need to spend money on him. And I think Matt Ryan for a backup is good enough. So that's why we're not really mentioning goalkeepers when we talk about it, because he's already pretty much signed. Just like Cedric was, where we got him on the loan, his loan ended, and we signed him on permanently. So I think that's just the same situation with Matt Ryan. I do believe this summer his contract ends with Brighton, and he's just going to join on a permanent and be a backup to Leno. Potter or Howe would do. Yeah, with Graham Potter, because he's at I don't think he's going to leave. Eddie Howe is now out of a job. I don't believe he's got a job as far as my knowledge serves me correct. I love Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe would be brilliant as a manager. I think his style of play with the players we have coming would be absolutely fan-fucking-tastic. Especially with your likes of Saka, Grealish, your Mason Greenwoods, your Phil Foden, your Mason Mount, your Harry Kane, your Raheem Sterling, your Marcus Rashford. He'd be brilliant. Declan Rice as well. You've got a good young defence, and then when you add a young manager who can be there for a while, it'll be brilliant. I just don't know what Howe's ambitions are, whether he wants to get into regular management in terms of like a league, or whether he'd be willing to go for an international game. They usually do that nearer to the end of their careers. I just don't know what Howe's ambitions or plans are, or whether he's in talks with anyone. Do you think Lampard or Howe? Lampard would do good just because he did well with the youngsters at Chelsea. Makes me think he might actually be okay with the crop of players. But I just think Lampard is way too inexperienced to be an international manager. So that would be my take on that. If you had Leno, Cedric, Mari, Gabriel, Tierney, Partey, Basuma, Odegaard, Saka, Edouard, Pepe, Martinelli, you would win the league. Okay, let me... I don't. Would we win the league with that team? I think we still need a better right back. What happens if one of those players is injured? Also comes into it. But if that, let's say, no injuries and that team, no, I think we could compete for the league. I just don't think we'll win it with that. Personally, yeah, because I think Cedric. Oh, this is tough. Because if you look at Leno, can he win? If he takes those little stupid mistakes out of his game, maybe Cedric is probably not good enough to win the league. Mari, Gabriel, I like them. Tierney, yeah. Party, yeah. Basuma, yeah. Odegaard, yeah. Saka, yeah. Possibly. It just depends on how consistent we can get this team playing. Lampard proved a little at Derby, Chelsea, in Captain. Yeah, yeah. I get your point, yo. What is your ideal England 11? Okay. Dean Henderson in net. That's who I would give it to. Right back, I'd go with Trent. I would play two centre backs with. I don't actually know what centre backs to play. But what I will do actually on this question, I'm going to make an England or an international stream soon. So stay tuned on that one. When I've kind of looked at everything and what's available in terms of, and then what I'm going to do is my Euros prediction video, and that'll be something which I will get a few kind of international fans, and I have got a few variety of fans, hopefully, that know a little bit more about other teams in the Euros, and yeah, that will be coming soon as a separate video. But guys, now thank you very much for all the engagement, all the questions. Do like, share, and subscribe. But this is going to be me signing out because we're hitting the 40th minute mark. And some of the questions I'm going to be doing in a different video. So do stay tuned, do subscribe, hit that notification, and yeah, this is Gooner Sulz signing out. Please do subscribe, like, and share, people. And I hope to see you guys